Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rebecca Fink and I work for Kendall County. Today I have the privilege of assisting the Kendall County Office of Emergency Management. I would like to take this time to introduce you to your Kendall County Judge, Shane Stolarczyk.
Good afternoon. I would like to begin today's press conference by once again acknowledging the collective efforts of our community and our nation for the assistance, support, and resources provided during the devastating flood event of 2025 that impacted Kendall County. We, as a community, would not be in the position we are today without the extraordinary volunteer efforts, generous contributions, and emotional support extended to our citizens. To all those who stepped up during this disaster, your efforts made a difficult time more bearable for many and allowed our emergency management team to concentrate on what matters most: search, rescue, and recovery operations for those impacted by the flash flooding. While the flood caused catastrophic damage throughout the Hill Country, Kendall County was blessed in one critical way. There have been no reports of missing residents from within Kendall County itself. Our primary loss was to property due to an unprecedented volume of water inundating our area. Our local first responders, along with state and federal agencies, have completed their primary and secondary search and recovery missions along the Guadalupe River. These teams search by air, water, on foot, and with canine units. To date, 9 missing victims from upstream communities have been recovered within Kendall County. At this time, we have no indication that the 2 remaining missing individuals are located within Kendall County. Therefore, we have received authorization from the Texas Division of Emergency Management, TDEM, to move forward with the cleanup and remediation efforts within our community. Cleanup operations will begin tomorrow, Wednesday, July 30th, 2025, and are expected to continue for approximately 8 to 10 weeks. DRC Emergency Services has been contracted to manage debris removal operations. Tetra Tech will serve as the third-party monitor overseeing the cleanup and disposal operation process. Work crews will operate 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. across the county until flood mitigation is complete. To ensure the public receives timely updates and accurate information, Tetra Tech has established a call center dedicated to cleanup efforts. The call center number is as follows: 830-217-2890. Again, that number is 830-217-2890. This line is going to be activated and become effective at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. This call center will connect residents with operators that can provide answers to questions about the debris removal process and future timelines. According to TDEM, DRC contractors will begin debris removal from west to east through the county. On the map to my right, you're going to see the county is divided into sections: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and Echo. Crews are going to begin tomorrow in Alpha section, progressing through each section sequentially from Alpha to Echo. Priority will be given to cleaning up the county right-of-way, followed by debris on private property as feasible, and then debris in and along the river channels. Landowners are encouraged to call the call center over the coming days for updates on the next stages of the cleanup process once the right-of-ways are cleaned. It's important to note that state contractors are only authorized to clean within the boundary of the flood's high water mark. If your property lies outside this boundary, contractors will not provide cleanup services to your area. If you're a private landowner, here's what you need to know. If you can safely move flood debris from your property into the county right-of-way, DRC will haul it off free of charge. Debris should be piled on the edge of the right-of-way, not blocking roads or access routes. We understand that not all landowners are able to move debris. For those in that situation, help's on the way, though it'll come at a later date. TDM and DRC are currently developing right of entry, otherwise known as ROEs, which is a process that will allow landowners to grant permission to the contractors to access their private property and remove the debris, also at no cost to the property owner. This process is still being finalized. However, we expect updates to be available within the next 7 to 10 days. We strongly encourage landowners to call the call center for the latest information, including when the ROE forms and procedures are officially available. Lastly, a reminder, our county-wide burn ban remains in effect. We are working closely with TDM to reassess this on a daily basis. We are also exploring options for controlled burning outside the flood zone, but nothing yet has been finalized. In closing, I would like to thank each and every one of you again for your patience, resilience, and continued support for one another. The road to recovery will be a long process, but together the Hill Country will rebuild stronger than before. We ask that you continue to support and pray for those affected by this disaster. And lastly, I would like to thank the City of Boerne for standing beside the county during this disaster event. I would now like to hand things over to Emergency Management Coordinator Brady Constantine for a brief overview of the debris sorting process.
Thank you, Judge. I'm gonna hit some highlights on what this process looks like. I would ask that everybody remain patient with us. We are working closely with the state, our local partners, our state partners to work through the different phases as this process moves along. Okay, so I want to thank everybody for their patience. Again, to reiterate what the judge spoke on, the county-wide burn ban does remain in effect at this time. It's going to be reevaluated on a daily basis, but we are a very rural community. Working through this process, we have to lift the burn ban tactfully, and what that looks like here in the community is why we're reevaluating on a daily basis. So please be patient with us in that aspect. Just as the judge stated, the debris should be stacked and separated into the following categories: electronics, televisions, computers, stereos, stuff of that nature; large appliances, refrigerators, washers, dryers, air conditioners; hazardous waste, oil, battery, pesticides, paint, cleaning supplies; and then vegetative debris such as tree limbs, branches, logs, and plants. Also separate from construction debris, building materials, drywall, lumber, carpet, and furniture. It's imperative that we separate these piles as much as we can. The more that can be done on the property owner will help the process move a lot quicker. If you are unable to complete this, get it out to the right-of-way. That is the key to this, is that we get these materials and these piles out to the right-of-way, so the state, in partnership with the state, we can get them picked up and cleaned up. Another thing is household trash. So household trash is not part of the pickup process. If it's your bagged, normal kitchen household trash, that still needs to follow your normal trash pickup process. Again, with debris being placed in the right-of-way for easier pickup, please keep in mind it does not need to be blocking access to the street. Don't block any fire hydrants. It needs to be in the right-of-way, not in the roadway itself. As far as vehicles and RVs and stuff of that nature, if they're on your property, I would highly encourage you to follow the right of entry process that is going to be coming out. We're still working through the logistics on that. You can call the call center. I would encourage that to get information on them as that is rolling out. But vehicles, As of right now, it'll be on the property owner to take care of a vehicle being removed that is on private property. However, if you follow the process of the call center and the right of entry, the state will take care of that for you. So I would highly encourage to follow what we're outlining, so the state can step in and do what they have asked to partner with us on. Scams. Unfortunately, there are several scams that come with any tragedy, an event like this. And we have seen several that have started here in our community. I would encourage you to double check any charity that you're donating to, or if you believe that you're being scammed or something just doesn't feel right, contact your local law enforcement and see if you can verify that before you take action to try to get ahead of some of the scams. Again, one more time, for anyone seeking information, you can call the Debris Call Center. That number will be live starting at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Again, that number is 830-217-2890. You can also visit the Kendall County website. That's kendallcountytx.gov. You can also continue to follow the Kendall County Office of Emergency Management and Fire Marshal's Facebook page. Judge, that's all I've got. At this time, we're able to take a few questions. Let's start with Jeff, Bernie Starr.
As far as the 9 individuals found, has there been a push pin area found in northern Kendall County, southern Kendall County? Do we know? And is there an age factor? Are those something that was taken care of along the way, or is that something that was left to Kerr County?
Well, at this point, we've not completed our after-action report yet, so we have not gotten into certain details. So at this time, we're not going to get into the fine details of the body locations and whatnot. Right now, we're really focusing on the mitigation and cleanup efforts. So if we can kind of focus our questions on that, we're happy to answer as many as we can on that topic. But at a future date, once we've done our after-action review, we're happy to get into those details with you. Yes, ma'am. Okay, we have a 50-acre site that the county owns that TCEQ approved for the deposit of all the trash and debris. It's a temporary location, but all trash and debris is going to be taken to this location, sorted, and then it's going to be like trash that has to be hauled to the dump is going to be taken from there, and then any kind of wood-type materials are going to be chipped up and then hauled off from there.
And if I could clarify something on that real quick. So that site was selected in conjunction with TDM and with TCEQ and going through the permit process to make that happen. We are leaning on the state and their partnership for the debris removal and to get through this entire phase because they have reached out to work with us on that. So that being said, that site is not a dump site where a private citizen can go with a truckload of material to deliver. It won't be accepted. The only trucks that will be going in and out of that site will be the debris removal and that specific contracted company. We can't encourage it enough. Push it into the right of way.
And as part of our agreement with the state, this is going to be a secure facility where it's going to be fenced and there's going to be measures set up to make sure there's no illegal dumping or other things of that nature going on in that location. Ken's? Nothing? Okay. TPR?
Had a question. It went away.
Okay. Community impact?
Yeah, I guess it's more of a clarification. I know that these are state and federal organizations that are kind of helping them through that process, but is it going to come at any kind of economic impact or any fiscal impact to the county itself?
Right now, with this part of the cleanup, there should be none because the state has agreed, based on our partnership right now, they're going to bear that burden for us. When it comes to other aspects of the FEMA grant, there's a 75-25. The feds will cover 75%. 25% would be borne by the county. So we're not to that stage yet. So as of right now, the question or the answer is there should be no burden on the taxpayers right now.
Do you have an estimate
8 to 10 weeks for this stage of the cleanup process is what we were given. But again, it's a fluid situation. We flew the county yesterday with the contractor, and the heavier saturation of the debris is in the comfort area, and it thins out as you move east. So I think it's going to be slower in the west part of the county, and things should speed up in the cleanup process as you move east.
So Alpha's gonna take some time, and then.
It should speed up as you move to Echo. Yes, sir.
As we start with the first section, the Alpha section and Bravo section, that's going to tell us a lot of time span, right, on how difficult certain areas will be. And I don't expect, like he said, for each section to be the same time length. You have different demographics in the county as you go down the Guadalupe River. The populated area, more bridges, and then the more rural ranch land as you go down. So I would encourage everybody to either call the call center number if you have questions, or follow the Facebook page or the Kendall County website, and we will push that out as quick as we can and as much as we can as that time frame changes, so that there's advance notice for everybody.
And when we were talking to the contractor, it seems like a very, very reputable company. They were telling us about the types of equipment they have, and they have equipment with like tracks and everything to kind of minimize the damage to property and get to these more remote locations on the property. So I think that they're going to really be advantageous to the citizens here to help clean up in these remote parts of our county, because we know, the Texas Hill Country is kind of a challenging environment to work in. So hopefully they're going to be able to get at some of these places for our citizens. Any other questions from anyone? Avery?
I don't know how specific you can be about the scam text, but what should people be looking out for when it comes to the scams that y'all have seen in Kendall County?
The legitimacy of them?
Of nonprofits and groups?
Yes, ma'am. That's the biggest thing, legitimacy of them. Where is that money going if somebody's asking for money? And how is it being accepted? And credit cards, and who are you giving those numbers to, or that personal information?
I guess TDM may have more information on their website, because they actually reached out to us and said, hey, please push this message out, because they're experiencing it much more in Kerr, I think, than here. But we've got word that there is some out here in our area as well. So we're just trying to remind people to be thinking and be vigilant whenever you're making a donation, because there's a lot of people out there trying to do good, and there's always a bad apple out there, and it's unfortunate that we got to watch out for that.
I have one more question.
Yeah, I can take it.
Where is the most damage in Kendall County? Is it in the Alpha Bravo areas? Is it Mark Street? Where's the most damage?
In my opinion, I believe it's the Alpha Bravo area. That's where the homes that were damaged, as well as most of the debris was. Those bridge areas where it kind of impacted and kind of jammed up, that's where when you fly it, it's just there's debris piles, couple stories, story high, no problem out there.
So the Guadalupe River is wider as you go west of Kendall County, and it starts to narrow down geographically, and then it meets the Cypress Creek right there just inside our county, right on the edge of town in Comfort, where those come together. Then it starts to narrow a lot more than what you see further out west in Center Point and Kerrville and such. So that's where a lot of debris was caught by the bridges and low water crossings. And then there was some that made it through as the water came up so high that is just kind of scattered throughout the county, the trash and stuff. And you bring a good point up about that. As we move through this process, I can't encourage everybody enough to respiratory protection and gloves on your hands, sanitize. There's been a lot of stuff in the water. Watch out for snakes. Protect yourself as you're working through this process.
Okay, I think we have another question from NPR or TPR. Not at this time. We were told they're going to scale up the operations depending on the ROEs that they get. The faster they get ROEs, the faster they're going to ramp up their operations here. And so at any given time, you could have 10 to couple hundred people working here, so it all just depends on how quickly they roll out that process. So I encourage our citizens, if you want your property cleaned, start calling that 1-800 number, get on a list and let them know that you want to give access to your property, because the sooner they can map it out and start plotting, the sooner we can get our county cleaned up. Okay, so with that, we appreciate all you coming out, and we'll up, again, the 1-800 numbers, or the 830 number, call center line is going to be your main avenue for updates, as well as our emergency management website and Facebook page. So with that, we thank you for your time.
Thank you all.